Hey everyone, I'm Scott Cunningham, aka Scottsy Business, and today we're going to be talking about SoMee.Social and the ONG Token, which is their token that is attached to this, which will become a governance token. They're coming out with the new token soon, but there's a lot that we got to cover. I've pushed back this review for months now because they've had a lot of issues. They've been updating their blockchain. They've been turning off withdrawals, but now that's finally back on. So I've given them a ton of time so that they can, this review can reflect them the most accurately when they're not having issues or anything like that, which I think is pretty generous on my part. Well, normally I would just review the platform as it is and not give them, months to prepare for my review. So I think this is pretty fair, even though I'm going to probably give this I'm not. This is going to be a mostly negative review because of all the stuff going on with SoMee, but nonetheless, I'm still using it. It is still a decent enough alternative to Facebook that, has crypto monetization. But there's a lot of things that I don't like that we're going to get into. And this is the same criteria that I apply to every single platform and every review. And I would have the same criticisms if the same issues happened on any other platform. And with that being said, let's just get into all this because there's quite a bit to get through. I'm hoping to keep this under 30 minutes, but I also want to be very comprehensive because, the marketing lead in the past from SoMee has threatened me with libel and slander, which is, ridiculous. But, they say if I don't cover this perfectly and mention every possible thing, that it's, somehow slander or libel. And I think that's very silly. However, I'm going to do my best to make sure I cover everything very comprehensively. But for the most part, I want to cover the stuff that I find very alarming. Before we do that, though, again, I do have to go through some of the stuff on here to make sure that it's all covered and it's all fair and good. So they've recently done an AMA talking about how they're switching ONG to become a governance token, and they haven't actually revealed, what that's going to look like or anything like that yet, but it is, coming soon. And one of my big criticisms of them is that they don't really provide much proof. They just ask you to trust them. So like, for example, regarding them having millions of hits, this is all they put out is just, a screenshot of this graph. I was hoping to get a little bit more than this, but this is all we have, which doesn't align at all with Alexa, which I have, I've done a trial to Alexa so I can get all the information, and then I'm going to cancel it because who's going to pay $150 a month for Alexa, which is probably the best, as far as I know, the best traffic tracking source, which we're going to look at very soon. But, aside from that, they've got a lot of things in the works. They've been working on the blockchain for quite some time. They do want me to show who's on their team. For some reason, Aaron here, who never actually shows who they really are, they believe that because of the people who are on this team, this project is beyond questioning, right? Say it can't be a scam because of the people who are involved, which I think is impossible. Nothing is above questioning or being a scam or anything like that. However, I'm not calling SoMee a scam. Don't sue me. And if you do like me being extremely honest and just giving my full opinion on this, please give this a like. If you're here from SoMee, sent over by AC, feel free to give this a dislike. So with that being said, let's get into this. So there's, again, a lot to go through, but I want to cover some of the most alarming stuff because, again, I did one previously and it was like 45 minutes and I felt like that was too long. And I still hadn't waited for them to fix some of their issues. And now that they're fixed, I feel like this is the most fair review that they could be getting. Anyways, so aside from SoMee consistently dropping in value, while everything else in the crypto market is soaring, 8% down today, and consistently going down over the last 3 months or so, that is pretty concerning. But, aside from that, because, that's really just speculation and how people feel. And, aside from all that, SoMee Token 150 million, which is half of the supply, is held in one address from 2018. Now, people might think like that's very concerning, very sketchy, because, what could happen with that? Well, they've claimed that this is technically burned because they've destroyed the keys to access this. Now, normally when you burn a token, you do in fact burn it, you destroy it. You don't put it in a wallet and then destroy the access to it, because that's not really burning it. However, even though there's no proof whatsoever, because, in the crypto world and the blockchain world, we say don't trust, verify. That's what the blockchain is for. But in this case, they've asked us to trust them and just assume that this is actually deleted and there's no way for them to access this. But if they could, at any point, they could just completely dump on the market. It's worth about $1 million. That would be pretty bad if that happened. And again, we have no actual verification whether or not this is the case. This is probably one of the more concerning things for me, regardless if the devs or the Oracle is dumping ONG, which they haven't been for a decent amount of time, like a month, although, withdrawals have been basically shut down for the past month. So another thing is with withdrawals, as far as I could remember, they only allowed beta testers, or, the whole platform is beta. Again, that's another disclosure that they want to make sure I say. The whole platform is beta, though it's been out for like 2 years, which is quite a long time. Older than most platforms I review, which are not beta nor use the beta excuse, but I digress. Withdrawals were only for a small amount of people who had already paid $100 to verify so they could withdraw, but couldn't. Only a small group of beta testers were allowed to do that. I was added to that group, and many people were then enabled where they could actually start to swap now. And then as everyone started to do so because they wanted to get their money out, they then closed swaps, apparently to update the blockchain. Fine. A month goes by, they finally re-enable the ability to withdraw your funds. And then after about a week or less, they turned it off again. Now it's been almost another month and they finally turned it back on. The reason that that's so sketchy is that it really sets this precedent that at any time they're just going to turn off your ability to access your funds. And it might be because the price is consistently dropping and they don't want people to be dumping the coin. It might be because they really are just working on things. But regardless, the result is that you don't have access to your funds, which I always say is a bad thing. The criteria we're applying to this review is being applied to every platform I've ever reviewed. So this isn't like me going after SoMee. This is just my fair and honest review. Again, if you're from SoMee and you're here to get all upset with me, give this a dislike. I expect it. And if you like honest reviews and, someone doing tons of research and spending tons and tons of time going through all this stuff, please give this a like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. So that's covered. We've talked about the price. I've gone through a lot of the disclaimer stuff that we need to cover. Let's talk about the traffic before we get into the final look at the actual platform in its entirety. So you don't get a ton of information, unfortunately, because there's not really a ton of people using this as far as I'm concerned. Although they will say on their reports, which are really just a screenshot, that they're getting millions and millions of users coming in all the time. I don't think this is legitimate, that they're getting more than 1 million hits per day. It seems very illegitimate to me, or it might be easily explained in this next section here. So there's not a lot to look at here. I mean, it's very not highly ranked, of course. You've got keywords and all this kind of, generic boilerplate stuff that you don't really need to be concerned with. But what's concerning to me is that maybe they are getting 2 million or 1 million hits per day. But according to this, 77.5% of all their visitors are coming from one country, Pakistan. And 90% of the users that I see on this platform are like English speaking users, or the presentation of the website is that it's mainly a US website because obviously it's made in the US. But this says that like the only traffic that it's really noticing, at least in the past 30 days, is just from Pakistan. And in the past 30 days is what they're more or less using for this. I mean, this was technically, I guess this was for last month, November, not December. But, you know, even still, maybe that's why they didn't include anything for December, because for all I know, they're paying for traffic from this website. I don't know what they're doing. I can't prove any of this. I'm just showing you what I'm looking at and kind of commenting on it. So one thing that I think is very, very important is that I'm not telling you what to think. I'm showing you what I'm seeing, and then I'm sharing my thoughts on what I'm seeing when I look at this stuff, right? So this isn't like me speculating on what's happening. I found this objective data and I'm sharing it with you, and then I'm commenting on the objective data that is not mine, but it is what is out there. All right. I got to be very clear here so I don't get like sued for something. So that's that. Now I can cancel my subscription because, you know, I'm not paying $150 a month for this. Now let's look at SoMee.Social. And again, you know, I've been harassed by the marketer. He deleted all the messages, lots of stuff going on. They banned me from their Telegram group for asking questions, lots of drama. But, you know, let's just forget all that and just worry about the platform. Let's be fair, right? I think it's still worth mentioning because that is, you know, concerning. But let's look at just the actual platform itself. Now, it's decent. It's kind of like a Facebook alternative. You know, you've got your friends, groups, companies, more or less a Facebook alternative. The problem is that they say there's 80,000 active daily users. I've not seen that at all. I mean, barely any comments. If you look at the companies, you know, there's like one follower for each company. They're all just random spam test names and things. I don't think there's any like legitimate pages on here, as far as I can tell, at least. And, you know, if I showed you my news feed and I said most of this looks like spam, you'll get people who'll say, oh, well, you're just friends with spammers. So let's not do that, even though nothing showed up here for some reason. Let's go to the main group of SoMee.Social, because you would think that the main official group would probably be the best representation of the overall platform, right? That's what you would assume. And let's go through it, because what I see every time I've ever gone through here is spam, low quality posts, people stealing other content, just taking things off of Google, throwing on a little, you know, caption and getting a bunch of free money. But because they haven't paid to verify, they can't withdraw, which I guess is their way of dealing with this. But the thing is, these people still earn their rewards, and then they can give those rewards to people who have verified and maybe get a kickback from those people. I mean, that's speculative, but that's a problem that I could see happening with this, because it's also very misleading as to how much you could earn. And again, you can't actually get anything out until you pay money to verify your account. And we'll get into all that. So this is what I'm talking about, where it's just random Google stock photos and random pictures that other people have taken with a little, you know, caption. And then they get 24 cents. Helpful information, God protect us. Something about, you know, heart disease, 89 cents. Just, you know, some random Reddit posts taken and shared here. You know, at least that didn't get anything. This is some random thing for, you know, some farmers. Maybe this is legit because it's, you know, like a Snapchat or something. But a lot of this stuff is extremely low quality content, and a lot of it is clearly not original content, right? And people are earning, you know, like $12 on some posts. This is also very misleading to people, because then they think, wow, if I go and spend a bunch of money, then like, maybe I can earn a bunch of as well. So then they go and they spend a bunch of money to get these tokens and power up and stuff. And then they realize they can't get their money out without verifying. And it's like, okay, well then just pay to verify. Well, there's many people who don't have ID, so then they can't verify. The verification process isn't that great because I did it myself and it had to be manually intervened and fixed. When you're supposed to be paying $100 for this fancy AI to do this, and then it doesn't work, at least for me. And, as we go through, just again, a lot of this stuff is just really random, pointless content. And I don't think most of it is original. And it just feels like spam. And people are just doing this to get tons of votes and free money. And I get it, but I don't think it's a good idea. And it's interesting that this is the kind of, overall reflection of the platform, which apparently has, 80,000 users daily, even though, this main official group only has 1,300 users, a couple likes on each photo, no comments for the most part. Which would lead you to question, is there really 80,000 people using this every day and they're getting millions of hits per day? Maybe if it's from all Pakistan and it's just, paid hits or whatever. Again, I'm not saying that is what it is. I'm just showing you and then, speculating on what I'm seeing. Again, I can't claim that the platform is all spam, but this is what I see. And if I'm trying to do a review, this is what it is, right? And normally I wouldn't keep making all these disclaimers throughout the video because most platforms aren't going to threaten you with a lawsuit just for reviewing their platform. But yeah, so I just need to be clear about that. So that is the group. And again, it does say beta here. So, it says beta, so they can do whatever they want, I guess. But let's take a look at the wallet because this is one of the most important parts here. And I don't want to spend too much more time on all of this because I think I've really gotten to the point here, right? Like, I don't use any platform for the most part that makes you pay to be able to withdraw your funds, KYC to withdraw your funds, and then also turns off your ability to withdraw your funds after you pay. And they also limit how much you can withdraw. So you can only actually withdraw 10,000 ONG per day. Now, I can already hear what they're saying. Well, Scott, you've made a bunch of money. Why are you complaining? Well, it's not about the money. It's about the principle. And it's about me doing a fair and honest review of the platform. Yes, I've made more money on this platform than on many other platforms, and I've reported that in my reports and all the stuff that I talk about, my earnings every month and all that good stuff. I've been including SoMee, and I will continue to include SoMee and be fully transparent about that. The issue is that at any time they could be turning off my ability to actually get these funds, and they have the option to, and they've used it many, many times. And I have no confidence as to whether or not I'll be able to, withdraw tomorrow. They might decide, oh, well, we're doing this new token, so we have to turn off swaps again for like another month or whatever it happens to be. And I'd be very unsurprised, right? And I know a lot of people who aren't aware of all this stuff and done all this research, they are going to think, oh my gosh, like I can't access my funds, what's going on? And that's going to be very, very concerning to them. So I will say that I was testing withdrawals basically almost every day, except for the little bit of time I spent, on vacation. You could see that I was going through and trying this all the time, many, many days, every day, trying it, error, which is fine again, because they said that they were working on it, but I don't like that you can't access your funds based on whenever they decide to turn off your access. Again, for most platforms, that would just instantly be a no-go for me, aside from all the other stuff we've already talked about. But again, just yesterday, I was able to get some funds out, so good on them for, finally allowing me to access my own funds again. Now, I've also had issues with rewards where they didn't give me the correct amount, and then I had to go through support and get my stuff corrected. So if you are using this platform, make sure you do have the correct amount of rewards. You can save this and then double check everything and make sure you do actually have the correct amount. One thing to just keep in mind is that for powering down and getting your G Fuel transferred back into SoMee points, you won't actually see those transactions. So you might think there's an issue, but if you check again by going through the transactions and downloading this, you'll actually be able to see that. So that's not really an issue. I guess it's just a bug, a viewing issue. So that's fine. Advertising, still nothing there. Everyone's got a crazy amount of G-Bucks that they've been earning over time, but you can't use them. But the issue here that I see is when you finally can use them, everyone will have so much G-Bucks that they'll have to go through so much more or less free advertising before anyone actually starts to spend money on it. And I think that's going to be very detrimental to them, and it's getting worse and worse as things go on. I don't know what they're going to do exactly, but with their new tokenomics and stuff, they are making it better for them and worse for you, where you're going to earn less, they're going to get more of the fees, etc., etc. Feel free to look into that yourself. I don't know exactly what it is, but the last time I saw it, I believe it was a 10% change to where they're getting more of your rewards. Now, you can just go and buy ONG and then deposit it and use it, or you can buy from their power-up packages. But their power-up packages are extremely overpriced based on what the actual value is, right? So you can see here $175 US for 23,744.01. Now, if we go and we look at the actual value here, let's just say 25,000 to keep this simple. If I times that by the value, which is currently 0.003855, that's $96. So you're effectively almost paying double the value of what it's actually worth, which is insane. That because well, they're saying, oh well, it's so much easier if you just give it to us and then power up or automatically instead of going through exchanges and stuff. So much so that we're gonna charge you double the value of what it's actually worth. Again, it's not double exactly, because you know they might try to say I'm lying or something, but you can see here it's very, very close, and that's crazy because it doesn't actually say here that you're paying a massive upsell or upcharge or whatever on the actual fee that you would spend to power up. So, and you're not actually going to earn more for powering up unless you're doing a lot of curation. You're better off just posting and doing your thing. And if people like your stuff, they like your stuff. Don't be misled by the massive values into buying more, which is again why I think it's very misleading to have those massive payouts for people who can never get those funds, unless they verify, which I don't think they're going to pay to do. And oddly enough, you have to pay with fiat currency to verify, which I thought was really weird. I believe it's the same for this too. They want you to pay not with crypto, but with a credit card. I don't like that at all. Why would I pay with a credit card to get cryptocurrency? Isn't the whole point of crypto to, not be using fiat? I think that's really weird. But, to each their own. This is really just my speculation on me thinking it's very, very odd and kind of sketchy. So, look, I could go on and on and on about all the different things related to SoMee, but I think you guys get the point. I'm not a fan with the leadership. I'm not a fan of the leadership, the management, their marketing strategy, what they've been doing. KYC, turning off ability to withdraw, all these different things. Very, very concerning to me. And I've got some questions that I have to sort of, ask and address and leave you with these questions to think about for this project. If you're thinking, is this worth it? Is this, sketchy? Should I actually get into this or, invest my time or money, etc.? So, and I've talked about all these already, but I want to make sure I've covered them and actually gone through all of them. So could the swaps be being turned off to prevent people from selling? Maybe. I don't know. They do say it's for the blockchain upgrades and updates and all that stuff, and that's fair. But it seems very oddly timed. Why does everyone have an absurd amount of G-Bucks? It's going to devalue the entire ad system, which should already be out, but it's not. That's my opinion there. Spammers and low-quality posters are getting a massive amount of G Fuel, and then they can give out massive upvotes to other people. And my speculation here is that maybe they're working with verified users to get a kickback from them by helping them get way more, and then they can withdraw it, and then they give some to them. That could be possible. There's no evidence or I haven't, looked around enough to see if that's the case. Although there are many people who would say there's many, voting circles where they're all just helping each other get more votes for spam posts, which is basically what's happening in the main group. It's just spam low quality content, and they're getting $13 sometimes for just random Reddit posts or Google stock imagery. Why are power-ups nearly almost like double now of the market price? Very sketchy. It should be updated and just, maybe a 10% upsell, maybe 15%, but 50 to 100%, that's very sketchy. Selling things for different values in different places, but it's the same, non-fungible item. That's very concerning. And I would always be concerned when I see that for anything, which was one of my biggest criticisms of DLive. I want to be clear here that it's not like I'm going after SoMee. I'm applying the same criteria to every platform, and criteria is just failing a lot of the criteria. And that's it, right? It's not like I'm clout chasing and I'm doing this to hopefully get a bunch of people who are commenting and da-da-da. It's like I get more views from doing tutorials and stuff like that because it's more useful and better for SEO. This is just like I'm concerned about sketchy projects, and I look at social media, blockchain, and crypto monetized platforms. That's the main thing that I do with this channel. So this is absolutely in line with what I'm supposed to be doing for my content. Where's the data on the 80,000 active users? We've already looked through a lot of the stuff as to why I don't think that's the case, but all they have to offer is a screenshot. They started a GoFundMe campaign and then canceled it like very soon after, which seemed kind of weird and sketchy. They're always talking about how everything's going to be amazing eventually, and they've got all these celebrities and all this stuff, and you saw their amazing marketing team, but they always pose it like they're above questioning because of this. Like, we couldn't have celebrities in this amazing marketing team if we weren't a perfectly legit and great project. It's like there's nothing that stops that from happening. If anything, it just reflects poorly on the advisors in that team. Why were only a handful of people allowed to use swaps previously and not all verified users? I don't know about that one. Apparently, just they're going to say beta because it's been in beta for years, but that's their like blanket excuse for anything that they don't want to answer. Why were the developer wallets and Oracle wallet being drained for quite some time? I'll include the links for those wallets as well as the 150 million ONG in that, apparently burned wallet. So you can look at that yourself. It hasn't been draining recently, but it was for quite some time. So you can look at that yourself. It's all on the blockchain, right? Don't trust, verify. Because I don't like just telling you guys something. I like showing you, though there's a lot of questions here to cover. So right now I am kind of just going through those, but feel free to check that out yourself. I'll have all the links there. And if these people are allowed to be posting low quality spam content and getting, crazy amounts of money for it, how is this sustainable? And isn't this misleading people to think that they're going to get more money than they really can? If 5% of everyone on the platform wanted to withdraw their funds, wouldn't it destroy the platform? Because it's fractional. The supply is fractional reserves, meaning that they don't have the actual amount based on what people have. They just take some and give it to you when you withdraw. So if everyone wanted to withdraw, it wouldn't be possible. That's very concerning. It's kind of like the Federal Reserve and with banks today. And that's usually what crypto is meant to be solving, not replicating. There's no white paper or really a roadmap. They do AMAs, but will the swap ratio of G Fuel to SoMee points to ONG change in the future? We expect that to be a yes based on the tokenomic updates and the stuff they've been talking about. But, I leave that question open, up in the air. Why did they limit swaps to 10,000 only? So that you can't dump on the market would be my assumption. But, that's a good question to be asking. Will the token supply increase? And what will that do to current holders? Will they get diluted, or will there be a split, or how will that work? Because if they increase the supply, that's going to just really devastate people who have been holding on to it for a long time and just completely destroy their supply. Again, replicating what the Federal Reserve does. This one was very weird. I'm not sure if this is still the case, but when I tested this with some people, this was the case, and I thought this was very, very poorly managed or set up. If someone blocks you, you can no longer downvote their content. So when people are spamming, like on the group with their low quality content, and I downvote them because it's bad content, they shouldn't be getting paid for it, they can just block me, and then I can't downvote them anymore. So you can just prevent people from, downvoting your low quality content by just blocking them. So anytime anyone downvotes you, you just block them right away, and it notifies you, so you can do it. And then that way you can never have anyone downvoting your content, and terrible low quality spam content can run free and just be all over the place. This just incentivizes people to block people from doing this, and it circumvents any kind of authentic community moderation, which is supposed to be the point of that, like they have on Steam or Hive. But that's not really being achieved here. So those are some of the questions that I wrote down. I'm sure there's more things to look at and cover, but again, I don't want to make this so long. My review for SoMee is, it's going to go into the tertiary section where it really shouldn't be, recommended, but I'll recommend it just for this, for the sole fact that I was able to get my funds out. I was able to make a good amount. This is a fairly decent alternative to Facebook because it's kind of one of the few that's actually like this. And I don't think the real problem is that I don't think a lot of the things that I don't like about this, I don't think they'll be able to be improved or fixed, right? If not, doubled down on, because they're not going to undo KYC. They're not going to take back all this stuff. They're going to just keep this and keep building on this. And I only fear it's going to get worse, not better. And, maybe they'll have some influencer campaigns, some marketing. They're going to get a better website soon. That is true. And, a better app and all that stuff. But the core infrastructure of the platform and the things that are built into the way that it works in its entirety are the things that are really flawed, in my opinion. And I don't see this getting better. I see this getting worse. And they're coming out with a new token apparently. And, my assumption is that it's to kind of, shift the focus off of all the problems of the old token and go to the new one, and then kind of cut out all the bad stuff and the fluff, which is good and bad. Bad because just creating something new and then pretending all the old stuff is gone is a terrible way to move forward, and very sketchy. And it's not a great way to do it, but if they do fix all of the problems, then that is good. But it's kind of like a lose-lose situation. That's why, again, I'm not really a big fan of SoMee. They banned me from their Telegram. I've been, repeatedly harassed by their marketing lead, and they refuse to, hire someone new or do anything about that. I'm not asking that anyone be canceled, but when you've got someone, threatening lawsuits on behalf of your company, that's pretty crazy. I don't want to get into the SoMee drama, though. This was really about all the sketchy stuff of the platform itself. Let me know what you think, though. I'm sure you're going to see a lot of upset people in the comments who are, friends of AC, the marketing lead, AC himself, or just, really loyal SoMee users who are upset that I'm giving it a negative review. But really what this is meant to do is to highlight all the problems in hopes that they will fix them and address them. And, to save you time and money and energy if you see all this stuff that I've shared and you don't want to actually, use this platform. But if everything you saw is fine with you and you still want to use this platform, then go for it. I'm still going to use it, and so that speaks for itself. But I use like 50 platforms, and I don't expect anyone to do that. I expect people to focus on just a few, which I've already recommended in the past. For what I earn the most on, for what are the best, most decentralized, all that good stuff. I'll be talking more about true decentralized platforms very soon, as well as releasing my full comprehensive review of all my recommendations, including SoMee and all the other platforms in the space right now, looking at about 160 different crypto monetized or blockchain social media platforms. So with that being said, thank you so much for watching. Again, make sure to give this a like if you like honest reviews and all the effort and time I put into this. And I know you guys are going to dislike it if you're coming from SoMee. So, hey, do your thing. Let me know what you guys think, though. Is SoMee something that you would recommend? Is something that you use currently and you will continue to use? All that good stuff. Let me know in the comments below. Let everyone else know. And please like, comment, share, subscribe. I'm Scott Cunningham, aka Scottsy Business, and this is Crypto and Things. Thanks.